Hello guys. So today I decided to make a video that's going to go over a few ways to ensure that you're playing your characters to the best of your ability and their highest potential. Going to kind of go over simplest to more complex, and additionally going to have some jazz playing, royalty-free jazz, since this will be a slightly longer video than the previous ones. So first, grab a SimC of your character, make sure you're in single target, and head over to Raid Bots to do a quick sim. When you do this, head down here and make sure you do no buffs, and then go ahead and run a quick sim. This will be a good way of making sure that you're playing your character rotationally as well as you can. First off, having no buffs means that you can just go to a training dummy, single training dummy, and practice your rotation. You could put a timer on in game, do it for 5 minutes. You could set the sim to 3 minutes, 2 minutes, and just get an idea of whether or not you're playing your character well. Down here, there is a sample log, and it does give you the warning of this may not be perfect, but in my experience, this is usually quite accurate, especially the opener, which for many of us is the most important part of our character's rotation. So being able to look at this, get an idea for exactly the order of abilities as they're used, depending on the RNG of your class and the potential for procs could obviously change this a little bit, but it should give you a really good idea of whether or not you're doing it more or less correctly. And everyone, especially if your parses aren't where you like them, you should be doing this with no buffs again, and just going to the target dummy and spending a few minutes at a time there trying to get as close to this number with the correct amount of time as you can. Whenever I start playing a new spec or a spec that's been changed a lot since the last time I play it, I'll generally spend a couple hours over the course of a few days doing nothing but single target on a training dummy and trying to get as close to this number as possible. So next, Warcraft, WoW Analyzer. This, as has been discussed, is big variance in how effective this is for each individual spec. For Shadow Priest, as you can see, there's a little bit of effort put into it. There's graphs showing the efficiency and the uptime of various things, but I won't go over these specifics because, as I said, every single class is different. But what just about every class does have are things like uptime. If you have dots or buffs that should have very high uptime. An example of downtime for melee and for ranged DPS. This is very, very huge, especially like for something like Fury Warrior, where the amount of fury you get determines by how frequently you're hitting the boss. The smaller you get this number, you'll be shocked at how big of a difference it makes on your parses. Additionally, you can go to just about every single class is going to have a resource tab where it's telling you how much resource you wasted, how much you overcapped on resource. It's another really, really, really big thing. Warcraft logs, obviously another huge one. So I'll go over, simply put, how to use Warcraft logs. I used our Magmarox kill from Tuesday. So I have my log here, and then I will go find a high-ranking Shadow Priest log to compare to. So set to heroic. We're already at Magmarox. Moving awfully slow. Sort by Shadow Priests. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pick one of the high ones. Preferably that's in... Oh, I guess China's not here anymore, so I don't got to worry about that. But grab one. I'll just grab this US one. I see that they don't have external buffs, so it's not going to skew the results a whole ton from what's realistic to attain. And grab the Shadow Priest. And what I'm looking at here, mostly the simple things that you can look at here to see how well you're doing are things like how many times you cast an important ability compared to a high level log. So obviously you have to consider the time of the kill. So I'm grabbing a calculator. I think you guys can see that. So our kill was 3 minutes and 40 seconds. So simply put, 40 seconds is 2/3 of a minute. So 2/3 of a minute plus 3 whole minutes, 3 2/3 of a minute, right? So then if I take the 36 and divide that by 3 2/3 of a minute, I see that I had roughly 9.8 Devouring Plague casts per minute. And if I go look at one of the best logs on the fight, theirs was basically 2.5 minutes. So his was 27 in 2.5 minutes. So he had 10.8. So obviously it's going to get skewed a little bit more towards the short of the fight because there's more of a percentage of the fight where he had bloodlust versus me and his own personal PI. But this is a really, really great way to see if you are performing correctly in the sense that you're getting the right amount of casts off of your most important abilities. This is going to go in line with, also you can see here, resources similar to Warcraft Analyzer. If you go to resources here and change it to insanity or focus or rage or whatever your class may use, this is going to go hand in hand with the casts. So as you can see, my Magmarock's kill was quite good because I wasted 0 insanity. He also wasted 0 insanity. It's another spot to compare yourself. And typically, since your most damaging and most important abilities are ones using resources, the amount of resources that you waste will, correlate directly with how many times you're able to get those important casts off. And the last thing that I'll talk about is using sub-creation to figure out just various things about your spec, right? So if I go here, I sort by heroic, and I look at Magmarocks because it's just a really great example of a super duper low movement and easy tank and spank boss single target. And if I go here and I grab the Shadow Priest section, it's going to give me aggregates of all of the top, 500 Shadow Priest logs. Yeah, of all the top 500 Shadow Priest logs. It's going to tell you the talents that they used. All 500 used this build with a variance of these talents, but you can see the one that did the most damage used this talent build. You can also come here to look at the embellishments that they're using. So at this point, the majority are still have a Lariat equipped, and a lot are using the Spore Cloak. You can also see the trinkets that they have, which is a big thing to compare yourself to as well, because if you don't, best in slot trinkets are make a huge deal on parses. And yeah, you can see everything for every single boss, and this should help out quite a bit, and you should definitely be referencing this, especially if your class has various different talent builds that are more effective based upon single target cleave, AoE, movement, etc. All the things I just went over, everyone should be fairly comfortable, all the DPS players should be fairly comfortable with taking a look at these things. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. If you feel that you're doing damn near the best of your ability, but you're still not getting the numbers that you want, and it's not due to having bad trinkets or something like that, then let me know, and I will take a look and see if I can help you out. Thank you.